Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy EFL show, sponsored and produced by That Millwall podcast. What a game week we had in game week 16. We'll take a look at game week 17 coming up shortly, but it was a double game week in the championship. Let's take a look over what unfolded with my team, and we'll take a look at the league table, the top performer, game week 17 picks, and the upcoming fixture, as there is a couple teams with a double game week this week. So we'll jump into that as well. But let's take a look at game week 16, how it went down. Bit unfortunate, a little bit, hit and miss. We had Victor Hansen in goal, picked up 12 points. Crammer picked up 14 points. We captained him. Roberts, the Barnsley defender, picked up 6. Harry Salter picked up 11. Finn Azaz, the big points receiver this week, if you captained him, well done. We picked him up. He had 2 assists, 2 goals, 5 key passes, 3 shots on target, and uncaptained picked up 22 points. Didn't feature in the second of the double game week games for Middlesbrough, which was disappointing. Vakunbayo up front got himself a yellow card, played 88 minutes in the win against Bristol City, got himself a goal in the 2-2 draw against Plymouth away as well, picking up 9 points. And it was a double game week for Millwall and for Portsmouth. But due to an emergency lighting issue in the area, that game was cancelled. So it ended up a single game week for Millwall and for Portsmouth, where we had Casper Denore, who picked up 4 points and had 1 interception, although I was at the game and he had more than 1 interception. So a little bit of a gripe with how the point system's working out with that, but hey-ho, that's what it is. Total 95 points for this week, with Sheffield United doing the business for us. They picked up a 3-0 win at home to Oxford with 9 points, and then an away 5-point draw with Coventry, managerless Coventry at the time, who are now set, I believe, to appoint Frank Lampard. Millwall obviously only picked up the 3 points in the draw against Sunderland because the Portsmouth game was cancelled, or postponed, should we say, leaving us with a total of 95 points. How does that affect the league table? Well, let's get straight stuck into it, and we'll take a look at game 16 overall. And Bielsa's Babes this week, 166 points. Look at that. Stansfield captain, 30 points. Signs, 31. Finn Azaz, wow, with one of the better points totals I think we've ever seen on the show. So incredible. Wrexham, 16. Birmingham, 13. Cooper in goal, 12. Harvey and Struick at the back, picking up 24 between them. McLean and Azaz picking up 40 between them, and Signs and Stansfield over 60 points between them in a 2-2-2 in a 166 point return. Not far behind though. Look at some of them point returns. Lord Redes picking up 161, in for a Shock, who's been at the top before, picking up 154, and 50 Shades of Flay just beneath the 150 point mark. Where does that leave us overall? Take a look. JPFC sits at the top on 1306 with a nice little gap, with EFL Fantasy Josh staying in second place on 1280. There's your top 2. Haven't moved. Moving up into third, Inevitable, picking up 143 this week, better than the 2 above him on 1277. Teletubbies and Bourgeon Swan drop down into 4th and 5th. Daskev stays in 6th, whereas Lord Redes, Just Slew It, move up to 7th and 8th. Only a 2 point difference between the two there. Take It As A drops down into 9th. Joint point total with Just Slew It in 8th. And Les Herbiers on 12 20, should I say, moves up to 10th with 50 Shades of Flay, as we just mentioned, on 12, 13, 7 points behind. That is your top 10 in the Fantasy EFL show table. I currently sit 39th after some really good weeks and some really bad weeks. I do this to give you the best opinions that I can. Everyone's an expert at fantasy football until it doesn't work. So there we are. But let's move into next week then, because this is the current situation where we're at now. We are in game week 17. And I've gone with the 3-2-1. I normally go with a 3-2-1 every week. I started off with a 2-3-1. Didn't really like the responses I was getting there. Moved into a 2-2-2 for a little while, then into the 3-2-1. But I think this week I'm going to go with a 2-2-2. I do like the points you get for the defenders, but I just feel there's some strikers out there at the moment that are putting the ball in the back of the net and then doing it quite heavily on a weekly basis. So I want to get another striker in there this week. So we're going to mix it up a little bit this week, and we're going to take a look at where we can go with that. But we'll start off with goalkeeper, shall we? Now, there is, like I said, a double game week. You have got a double game week here, and I think, where is it? I believe it's Colchester have a double game week somewhere along the lines. But yes, there is a double game week. So, I mean, I'm looking at the double game week. Fleetwood have it, Colchester have it, I believe so. There is a couple teams that have it. Now, Harrington, 0.9% selected, averaging 4.5 points. Is it enough for me to pick up on the double game week? It's probably not. But keep that in mind. If you do want them double game week points, I'd probably look at more teams to pick up the double game week points rather than, some of the lower level keepers or lower point scorers, should we say, because you could just even yourself out. So yeah, I wouldn't really look at that as being the avenue to go down. But we'll start with our goalkeeper, and we're going to go with Lucas Jensen, the Millwall goalkeeper. Now, he's not going to be our captain. It just automatically selects him for that because he's the first player to pick. But we're going to go with Jensen. And Jensen's been really, really solid for Millwall. Really solid for Millwall. He's only 0.5% selected. He averages 4.9 points. He's got game week 4 points. But, look at them clean sheets he's been picking up. Plymouth, clean sheet. Swansea, clean sheet. Burnley, clean sheet. Leeds, clean sheet. Only conceding 2 in the last sort of several games. Really, really good goalkeeper. I expect that Millwall will do the business against Oxford away. And I think Jensen will be a big part of that. Do I think they'll have unlimited amount of shots? No, I don't think they will. But with Jake Cooper missing, they're a little bit weaker at the back, Millwall, so they may get a few more shots squeezed off Oxford. And with Harris up front, they're a good outfit up top, Oxford. They can cause some problems. So I expect Jensen to make a fair few saves, although I do expect Millwall to win the game. So we will go with Jensen in goal. Now we come on to our defenders, and this is where it gets a little bit tedious for me because there's some defenders in there that have got some really hard matchups. Sirkin against Sheffield United, Suter against Sunderland, Esteve against Stoke. It is quite tough, in my opinion, to pick a defender this week. I probably would have looked at someone like Jake Cooper, who'd been playing very, very well. But we're not going to do that. We are going to go with another Millwall player, though, and we're going to go with Japhet Tanganga. Because of the loss to Jake Cooper, Tanganga is going to do a little bit more because he's not got his main man next to him. He's going to be the focal point of that back four. So I look for Tanganga to be that enforcer at the back and pick up them points. I haven't selected him yet this season, but really, really, really top centre half. One of the best centre halves in the division. And we're going to go with Hegem. Like West Brom's matchup against Preston North End, I like Hegem. He's a top defender at this level. He's playing really, really good football, and he's got some good points overall. He's 2.3% selected. He averages 6.6 points a game week. He's got a total of 112. But look at his results: 10 points in the draw last time out, 6 clearances, 1 clean sheet, 2 tackles. We go back the week before that, 2 goals conceded, but 3 tackles the week before that. 9 clearances, 2 blocks, 2 tackles. Go back the week before that, 1 clean sheet, 6 clearances. He's getting right in the thick of it every single week, whether it's against teams at the top or teams just below. He is there. So look to pick him up into your teams. I think we're going to go pretty safe with our midfield this week. And, this could be probably the midfield for most teams, but we're going to go with Kwame Poku. Poku is unbelievable. He needs no introduction. Look at that. He's 11.5% selected. A ridiculous player at the moment. Someone that everybody's keeping their eyes on, and with just as well, because he's absolutely brilliant. We was going to take a look at Lewis Wing, because Lewis Wing is someone who's gone off the boil. He's gone back on, he's gone back off. And I do like the matchup against Cambridge, but we're going to go with Finn Azaz. We picked Azaz up last week. He was fantastic. Really solid player at the moment. Seems to be flying and firing on all cylinders, regardless of opposition. And just someone that, should be in your teams at the moment, because we take a look at 9.7% selected, very much like Poku. Everybody's selected him at the moment. He averages 7.3 points per game week, and someone that you have to really, you don't really have to worry about. He's a steady points getter, and you want that in your teams, and you need it in your teams, especially at these times of the season. So look to get him into your side if you haven't already. We're going to go with Signs up top for obvious reasons. Again, another big week out, another hat trick. Ridiculous player at the moment, firing on all cylinders. Seems to just get better and better every week. The points seem to just completely, go wild when he's selected. Look to pick him up this week. And I think we're going to go back with a Kumbayo, because I like the matchup they got this week against QPR. No QPR, a big result in the week, but I just fancy Watford. They're at home as well, and Kumbayo, he can be a dangerous man where you can go and get a hat trick, or he can go off the boil. It is a risk picking up Kumbayo. I picked him up last week. I'm going to keep him again, but he's only 0.8% selected. But I just really do fancy him this week in that striker position. You could look at other options. Latte Laff, 11.6% selected. He picks up big points, really big points, for the same reasons that I've picked Azaz in the team. You could very well easily pick Latte Laff. I feel Kumbayo is probably the guy I want to go with, but there is others there. If Laff is obviously, we just mentioned about Josh Madger as well, is someone that you could probably look at. But looking into the other leagues, look at Louis Barry. I mean, Louis Barry, 6.7% selected. He's been picking up points after points after points. Got 2 goals last time out against Burton. Again, another goal in the game against Wrexham, and he got another goal in the game against Bolton, and he got 2 goals in the game against against Reading. So, that's another player that you could look at. I'm torn between the 3. I'm torn between Louis Barry. I'm torn between Latte Laff, and I'm torn between Kumbayo. So I don't quite at this point know where I'm going to go. So I'll reveal that at the end where I think I'll go, but we'll move on to our clubs now. So you could go for the double game weeks. I'm not going to trust the double game weeks. I'm going to get straight stuck into who we think. And I think Wickham is probably the one team at the moment. They are absolutely flying. Fantastic football they're playing at the moment. They are riding high as a kite. I think Wickham against Exeter. Exeter are no mugs. They've got Cranmer at the back, really good team, good goalkeeper as well. But Wickham are just a different animal at the moment. So I think you have to look at picking up Wickham in your team. Then there's a lot of other teams that you think, Fleetwood have got Colchester and Doncaster. Is that a good option for your double game week? Maybe. Watford at home to QPR, probably the banker, and I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to go Watford at home to QPR. I did toy with Millwall again on the road against Oxford, but I'm trying to go with bankers. The point total the last few weeks have been good for me. I need to start making some ground now while I'm getting good point weeks and having good weeks. So are other people. So I want to try and, not overthink it and go out with people that are performing and that can bring me the results. So we're going to look back at the striker position. We've already got signs up top. I was torn, like I say. Louis Barry has Birmingham. That's a big game for them. That may put me off of putting him into the side. It may put me off of putting Bio in the side because he goes hot and cold. He's in and out. It's very, very hard to predict how he's going to perform and how they're going to perform. But we are going to go in a different direction. We're going to pick up Birmingham's Stansfield. Stansfield now, I know that most of you didn't predict that, but he's 2.3% selected, averages 6.3 points. Look at the last time out, 1 goal against Exeter in the 2-0 win. The week before that, 1 goal, 2 shots on target in the loss against Shrewsbury. The week before that, 1 goal against Northampton Town. The week before that, 59 minutes played. And the week before that, 1 goal. So since game week 11, he's only not scored in 1 game and was a big player. Big player for Birmingham, big signing, big player in that league, and someone who you expect to deliver on a weekly basis based off of that and based off of his performances so far. But we'll go with our captain and our assist picks this week. And I think we will pick up Kwame Poku as our captain and Finn Azaz as our vice captain this week. The two midfielders are goal scoring phenomenons. They get assists, they create chances, they're all over the place. And I think that is probably the best selections for the captain picks this week to try and boost them up. And that is what we're going to go with. So just to recap, we're going with a 2-2-2 formation for the first time in a long time. And it is as follows: Millwall's Lucas Jensen in goal, Jaffet Tanganga of Millwall at the back with Hegum of West Bromwich Albion alongside him. Midfield 2 of Kwame Poku of Peterborough as captain, Middlesbrough's Finn Azaz as vice captain, Borja signs the Norwich City striker at home to Luton, and Jay Stansfield up front, the Birmingham attacker, with Wycombe Wanderers and Watford taking on Exeter and QPR respectively as the 2 teams to watch this week. Now, let's take a look at the upcoming fixtures, and we'll start with the Championship, and it all does kick off with that top of the table clash on Friday night, and that is Sheffield United at home to Sunderland at 8 o'clock. We then have 3 early kickoffs in the Championship at 12:30. Middlesbrough take on Hull, Oxford at home to Millwall, Watford take on QPR. We then have a slightly later but early kickoff still at 1:30. Blackburn Rovers take on Leeds. And then we move into the 3 o'clocks with Bristol City v Plymouth, Coventry, Cardiff, Frank Lampard's first game in charge. Norwich City taking on Luton Town. Big game that. Preston take on West Brom at home. Stoke welcome Burnley. Swansea at home to bottom of the table Portsmouth. And Derby take on Sheffield Wednesday. Moving into League One. Bolton Wanderers, Mansfield Town on the 3rd. They meet at 19:45, as does Charlton Athletic v Crawley Town, Exeter City v Wycombe, Leyton Orient v Bristol Rovers, Rotherham Lincoln, Stevenage Northampton, Wrexham Barnsley, Huddersfield Wigan, Reading Cambridge, and at 19:45 to finish that off, Birmingham Stockport on the 4th, Peterborough Burton on the 4th, and Shrewsbury Town Blackpool on the 4th. Moving into League Two, as we said, there is a double game week for a couple sides down the bottom, and we'll start off with games that kick off on the 30th at 12:30. Fleetwood take on Colchester, Carlisle take on Crewe. Moving into the 19:45 kickoffs on the 3rd. AFC Wimbledon at home to Newport County, Bradford Barrow, Cheltenham Port Vale, Colchester, Swindon, Grimsby v Accrington Stanley, MK Dons take on Chesterfield, Salford, Harrogate, Tranmere, Morecambe, Walsall take on Notts County, Bromley take on Gillingham, and to round it off on the 4th, Fleetwood Town finish up their double game week with a home tie against Doncaster Rovers. That has been your double game week in League Two, the very slight double game week that we have in League Two. And yeah, they are our week 17 picks. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your teams as well. Tell me where you think I've got right. Tell me where you think I've got wrong. And let me know. Give me an idea. But above all, please, if you do like it, please like, please share, please subscribe. This show will go out as a podcast. It will then go out on YouTube so that you can see my ugly mug, tell you about it, and you can see the visuals. But game week 17 is upon us. Like I said, it kicks off tonight, Friday night, with Sheffield United v Sunderland, and it should be a big one. So with that, thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.